Today we're heading to the instructional room at Washington to meet with Kirsten Sinkowicz. Kirsten, tell me about your communication station.
So this is our communication station. We have it labeled for the kids to find. We have our I can statement or our we can statement. So it says I can communicate, and then we fill in whatever it is our goal for the day. Then we have our core board, which is really helpful. We have our word of the week so that staff and students know what word we're working on for the week. And then in this cart is different tools that we can use to help us communicate. So I have a word of the week drawer that has different things. So last week our word was go, and we had the wind up toys to work on that. This one is filled with books, so reading A to Z books that have some of the core words, or language lab books that have some of the core words. Then I've got some toys, which can be really helpful with facilitating communication, describing things like that. And then there'll be other things too as we get going. We do writing prompts, so a visual cue of something and then descriptive words. And I use this for communication, but also to help with writing.
Thank you. Here are the supports that Kirsten uses with her students. You can see that she tailors them to each student's specific needs. What are some examples of goals for your I can communicate statement?
So we do I can or we can communicate with things like I can communicate my wants and needs. I can communicate my feelings. I can communicate with my friends. It's kind of whatever we're working on. So sometimes students work at this station independently, and we're just practicing on labeling things, using the core board, using the device, just getting that practice in. But sometimes when we're working with each other, it's more about how we can reciprocate that communication. And so it's really whatever if we're working with more than one student, it changes, and depending on whatever our goals are. But I found that this statement is really effective in letting students know what it is, the purpose of this time, and what they're working on.
I love your core board, but do students use their devices with this?
Of course. So core board helps all of our students, not just students with devices, but it kind of helps to generalize those skills. And so my students who don't have a device who are participating in this station with students who do have a device, it just gives them an equal opportunity of a way to communicate. And honestly, communicating with pictures and visuals is so beneficial to all of our students that the core board has been beneficial for all my students, whether they have a device or not. Of course, for my students with a device, we're encouraging the practice of using that device, but it's nice being able to have this option that everyone can use.
So would you say this is how you include or work towards having a universal design for learning in your classroom?
Absolutely. I think it's so helpful having something that everyone has access to. And my favorite part about this is that students use this not just when they're in the communication station, but if they want to communicate something that they're having a hard time expressing verbally.
Work this into your day.
So I find maybe 5 or 10 minute chunks in between some of our core academic areas just to build this in. For my students who don't have more of the significant AT needs, we incorporate it with writing. So those description things, being able to describe things is a huge component for writing too. So I make it work that way for all of my students. But if our goal is to increase our communication with our students, finding that time is just so important to give them the chance to use their words, to communicate with each other, to describe things, to interact with different things. So I make the time in between kind of our transition times, our kind of downtime in between our core academic blocks.
Thank you.
Thank you.